Hello, everybody, and welcome to Homeward Bound. How are you guys doing today?
Ooh. Doing well.
Good to
Happy
hear.
Martha's Day.
Yes.
If you haven't already, go call your mamas.
Unless you're in England. Don't worry about
Do they not celebrate Mother's Day there?
They don't
It's
love
in
their
March,
mothers.
I think. We already did it. We don't make them
Oh.
wait so long.
Well, if you are a godless heathen like the rest of us over here, then go ahead and call your mothers.
I was going to say, I've been watching The Last Kingdom, and
Oh, have you? Nice.
yeah.
How fun.
I have to say the latest season's kind of rubbish, but
I'm only up to the third episode, but
okay.
I mean, spoilers, but when the start of episode 3, I think.
Spoiler, it's more or less history.
Probably. Well, I mean, I'm not sure Father Marco was in history.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was hit me right in the heart. That I feel Uhtred, son of Uhtred's pain.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess that stuff is not bad. Like the like plot stuff. I feel like they needed to like the attractiveness of the actors has gone up and up and up throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
And the quality of the history has gone down.
That's right, yeah. Season 1
I
was
was saying to Aaron, they need to fire like 1 or 2 of these pretty boys and use that extra budget to like hire a historical consultant or 2. Someone who's an expert in medieval battles.
So I liked in season 1, I think I might have spoken about this before. In one battle, there's like something done really well and something done awful. So there's like a main character, like he's like Alfred's like right hand man, and he just gets killed in the shield wall by like a spear like coming through the shield wall, just killing him like unceremoniously. It's like, oh, that's really realistic. And then 5 minutes later, Uhtred like jumps over the enemy shield wall.
Yeah.
Kills like 20 guys and then like escapes back unscathed. So okay, maybe not so accurate then.
Yeah, there was a scene, and we just finished the season last night. There was a scene where there's like a horse charge at a keep, and they're like, "Shut the gates!" And it's like a race to like shut the gates before the horses can make it through. And like there's a guy on the wall, and they like spot the horses running, and it's like, and they shut the gate just in time, and the horses go crashing into it, and it's like, oh, what are we watching? It's good fun.
It is good fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I am. What is he? What even is his accent? Like, I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
The actor's German, but he's like faking a ye old English accent. I don't know.
/ Danish.
There were no spoilers there. There was a. Is it a spoiler to say that there was a cavalry charge in a medieval show?
Certainly not.
Close the gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that it's like relatively low budget, and they didn't want to just like cut the battles like most low budget shows would do, so they kind of just did like a half-assed job with them. And it's definitely written by like theater nerds or something, because like all the scene changes just feel like it's like, all right, actor whoever exit stage right, so and so enter stage left, and it's like so many convenient like they just miss each other, they just pass each other in the same field, just because like that's how it was in the script. So they've got the same shot, and you like see them, and just as the bad guys leave, Uhtred shows up on the hill. And it's like, how do they not see him? He's right there. Or like battles where just in the nick of time, like everyone converges on the battlefield at exactly the same time, and like just as they're about to be defeated, the reinforcements show up.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say though, I think it's better than the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it is
right. That's not hard to do.
It's a sad state of affairs, but true. Yeah. That's not triggering.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's do some Homeward Bound.
That's my random pop culture rambling for the week. Does anyone else have anything to say, or
no?
We're gonna let Neal honk at us in Elven.
Honk.
If this elf fucking speaks like a goose.
So, someone want to recap us on where the fuck we are?
I could do it. Ryan could do it. Okay.
I think I did last week. You can give us a go.
We ended up at the session before last. After marching for a very long time, Grimes was not starving, but William was starving and almost dying, hallucinating, unable to really march for more than a few hours a day. When we stumbled onto an unnamed town, collapsing in the temple, some shadow demons showed up, and that's how we started the episode. So William essentially lets one of the shadow demons enter him, and that seems to have solved his hunger problem. So over a few days, they built up some strength and managed to get back on his feet, and so they started marching, following the snake tongue thing to potentially a portal, or at least that's what we thought. So we marched, and we marched, and we eventually hit the canal system, like the huge canals in the center of Arcadia. So then we headed north, hoping to run into a city where we might be able to cross, and we stumbled upon High Castle, which I think by that point William had deduced that that's probably where they were, with his limited geographical knowledge. And having found our way to a city for the first time in untold numbers of years, and not having seen any other living beings or monsters basically for weeks of travel now, we made our way to a tavern, took our armor off, had a wash, and slept in beds for the first time, only to be accosted in the night by some weird monstrosity with multiple mouths and tentacles and all sorts of gibbering flesh. Grimes awoke.
Fear itself.
To face it in the hallway, taking a few blows and being filled with fear, shouting just in time to wake William up before fleeing into the darkness of the city in terror. William took his weapons, attacked the fear in no armor, and almost felled it in a single blow, only for it to fight back and remove his remaining 3 or 4 hit points which he had, and William started to bleed out on the floor with the fear sitting upon him, giving him horrendous nightmares and feeding on his misery. So we cut to Grimes fleeing into the night of the city, running down cobbled streets in darkness, only to come to his senses and realize that we left William fighting the thing alone. Turns back around, sprints down the street, heads back into the tavern, rushes up the stairs to see this horrible, massive, disgusting flesh sitting on William, sort of feeding on him. Grimes takes his crossbow, shoots it in the face, finishes it off, and then tends to William's body to find him bleeding out, almost dying, attempts to bandage him, to no avail. The blood keeps slipping out, and it looks like William's going to fade away, and William says a prayer to the gods, begs them not to take his love. Grimes does, and by the grace of Martha, the bleeding stems and William barely clings on to life. And over the next 2 months, Grimes and William rest in the High Castle Keep, staying safe inside the walls, making sure not to run into any more creatures, recovering their HP, before heading back on the road, taking a boat, crossing the canal, heading across Mistrea, back into the next set of canals on the other side, and following the tongue to an island, which quickly turns into a huge cliff face, which Grimes climbs and drops a rope down for William. They climb up to the top, find a dead demon with arrow holes in it, look curiously around to see an elf emerging from a forest before them.
Yep. And I guess that's where we're going to pick up. You are standing in grayscale on this island and stepping out of a tree, like the depictions of the Scrags and like the Scrags you've seen before. An elf steps towards you. Even in the grayscale, you can see that he has long white hair and white eyes. Over his back, in his hand is a longbow. At his side is an arming sword and a short sword, and a quiver with arrows. There's also a dagger attached to him. He's got a small pack on his back that you can see some rope hanging out of. And the elf looks at the two of you, and in very smooth, fluent Dracissian, says, "Greetings. Madrigal has sent us."
I look to Grimes. Is this some sort of trick? Who are you?
Does William speak Dracissian? Or is this gibberish to him?
No,
yeah, you're both from Dracis.
Yeah, okay, we're Dracissian.
Mm-hmm.
Grimes had his hands up. The bow was notched, correct? Notched and drawn?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Just
I mean,
in hand?
it's in hand, and there's a quiver at his side, and you know elves are pretty freaking fast. He could notch and draw that thing in no time. But he's not covering you.
And I believe we confirmed last time that this is definitely not a scrag. This is a healthy elf, not corrupted by dark magics of.
It's not quite so twisted.
Caldonia.
It's not quite so short. The ears aren't floppy and dangling. They're pointed and a little bit shorter than the other scrags you've seen. This looks more like a traditional elf.
Yeah.
Except for the white hair and the white eyes.
Mention of Madrigal, Grimes, I think, drops to his knees and looks up at the sky.
It is
Thank the
faceless.
gods. There is hope yet.
Starless.
I look down at Grimes and then back to the elf. I say, who are you? Identify yourself.
My name is Iane, and I'm here to take you home.
I look up at the sky.
There's nothing
Can't
there.
be. How? I hadn't spoken to anyone else in years. I sheathed my sword and put my hand on Grimes' shoulder to bring him back up to his feet and step towards the elf.
Yeah.
And reach a hand out to
I
shake his
stand
hand.
up.
All right.
I think William went to shake the elf's hand.
Yeah.
The elf's hand. Oh, okay. He reaches out a hand for you as well. It feels
Grasp
warm
him
to the
around
touch.
shoulder. My name is Kel William Marshall, the Caledonian Expedition. Thank Madrigal you're here.
I step up behind William. I don't think I greet the elf or anything like that. I mean, I don't shake his hand, but
Mhm.
Does he have any symbols? Is he wearing a holy symbol of Madrigal?
He is not wearing a holy symbol of Madrigal. No. See, his cloak is pinned with a brooch that looks like a pair of leaves together, maybe jade with some sort of silver outlining. His weapons are definitely magical. You've seen a lot of magical gear in your time, and his armor and his swords and his bow are very clearly unnaturally made. You can see that the sword, even though it's sheathed, has a wooden crossguard and a wooden pommel and a wooden handle, which wouldn't make any fucking sense to have. So it's clearly some sort of enchanted magical elf wood or something. The chainmail that he's wearing, you can only barely hear it as he moves underneath his clothing, but the way that he moves as if he's not wearing anything at all. So it's some sort of weightless chainmail that he can wear underneath a light shirt. He just takes his time to let you guys organize your thoughts.
I think I was half expecting Grimes to have to do translating, but this is kind of a relief. And so I think Grimes falls in behind William and lets him do the talking.
How?
So I
Okay, I guess I keep waiting for Grimes to speak for me and then realizing that actually
I think Grimes is standing behind you like a I don't know, perhaps like a squire or a servant in waiting or something.
Mm-hmm.
At your side, close at hand, but out of the way.
How did you get here? Is there a portal on this island?
There is. Would you like to
Sent
come
by the
home?
gods? That's all I've wanted for so long.
Then follow me. It's a quarter mile down the way.
Are there demons here? Monsters?
Not now.
This is a unexpected turn of events.
Will you come with us?
Of course.
He
Say this-
walked. Go ahead.
This goes back home
Mm-hmm.
to Arcadia, the real Arcadia, not this hellscape version of it.
It'll be somewhat hellscapey when you get home.
What? How long has it been?
Why don't we answer your questions on the other side of the portal? would you help me with this body? He says, motioning to the demon's corpse.
What use do you have for that?
We can't leave it here. Those poor children of the gods need to find a way home eventually. And he walks over to grab it by the arms and waits for you to pick it up by the feet.
I look to William for like a nod of approval or something.
I sure gonna give him a nod. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll go help the elf with the body.
Okay. The two of you will lift the body. The elf will start to lead the way when I would like the two of you to make me a perception check.
I wanted to look for the gem of seeing when the elf turned his back, but now I've got my hands on this frickin' demon. All right, perception.
Just opening my character sheet. Give me a second.
Yeah, take your time.
All right.
It's quite good.
Grimes is on it.
Okay, well that's good. I think my perception's 7, so I'm just gonna roll that.
20, not 91.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
20.
Okay, so you start following this elf. Grimes, at some point you will...
Oh, good. Is he walking backwards or is he walking forwards?
No, he's walking forwards. He'll grab the hands behind him.
Okay.
Yeah. At some point, as you begin to walk, you'll become aware of the presence of a creature following you, or a person following you. And if you throw a look over your shoulder...
I will pause and look and make sure it's an elf.
It is another elf that you did not see earlier.
Yeah. Can
That's
I
just
like
somehow
eavesdrop
behind
to see
you.
if I can like listen to the crackling of the woods and see if I can like guess how many creatures are around?
Absolutely.
Is that an eavesdrop or a gauge? Probably eavesdrop.
That would be an
right?
eavesdrop, yeah.
33. I probably like wait for a moment where we've like paused a second to like if he's like adjusting his grip on the demon, and I'll stop and just listen.
There are
intently.
2 creatures walking through these woods. You and William.
I can't even hear the elves.
Not
I just,
even
like,
the
caught a
elf,
glance
like
at-
4 feet in front of you on the other side of this demon.
Damn.
They make no noise as they walk.
Are they wearing? I mean, more. Are they better? I have scrag boots on as well.
Oh, you hear one set of footsteps.
But I have like I have more martial gear, so like I may be clanking a little bit.
Right.
compared to that.
You'll only hear
But, yeah.
William's footsteps. You'll hear your
Yeah.
gear sort of clanking, the occasional rustle of elven chain. But that's, it's only if there's some unusual movement, like someone squats down or does a twist
Yeah.
or something.
Well, I'm impressed. I take note of their movements and their techniques, and maybe think if only I could move as stealthily as they.
Yeah. The elf leads you inland, and you'll notice there are 2, I hesitate to call them mountains, but like peaks on this island. There's one large one, sort of to your northwest, and one small one to your southwest. The elf will lead you between the 2 peaks. And it's going to be a short walk. Go ahead.
Yeah, at some point I'll whisper to William. William, I can't believe this day has come. We've been
I told you, Grimes.
untethered for so long. I thought we'd never get out.
They've always been there. The gods, Grimes. Watching us, making sure we make it back home. I knew it. Relax, my friend.
They lead you between the 2 large peaks covered with trees and around to the back of the north one, which on this side is another sheer cliff. But you will come across what appears to just be a large crack in the cliff. It's horizontal, maybe 20 feet wide, and at the either ends it's quite small, but in the middle it's about 8 feet tall. And it looks kind of like wet earth on the other side. Like it's a rock wall, and then there's this crack that kind of leads in like a crevice into something that looks sort of goopy and gummy. And it is here that
who has the fork, the portal detector? Does William have that, or does Grimes?
I seem to remember you giving it to me, actually, but I think generally you carry it. So.
Yeah.
I think if William was rowing, Grimes would be tuning.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
we
right.
got to we were trading off, and then we got to the island. I actually don't have it anymore on my character sheet, so I think you have it.
Okay, sure. Okay. Well, I rather than get it out, unless you, I mean, if you ask for it, I'll give it to you.
If it was on me, I was going to ask if it's humming away, like if we're near a portal. But, anyways.
I think I just say to the elf, like, looking at the crevice, like, is this it? Is this the portal home?
Stepping out of two nearby trees are two more elves. Both of these are very clearly clerics of Madrigal. They have her emblems dangling from around their necks. One of them, a woman, speaks up to answer your question. Simply says, "Yes, this is the way home."
Do you know who we are?
You are William Marshall, Knight
Where we've been.
of Drekis, servant to Princess Sella, son-in-law of Richard Caldonia. You
Richard what?
are Grimes, who has no other names, except for the one.
So you know what we did?
Yes.
I looked between the elves. But still you help us?
Madrigal has asked me to bring you home.
I narrow my eyes suspiciously at this. What have we done with the demon's body?
You're still holding it before the portal.
Yeah. Where does this portal lead?
To the same island in the material plane. But the trees will not be there, and we will have to wait until nightfall to leave. This island has been ravaged by scoria. Here on the Shadow Plane, you see it as it has been for a long time. But when you get back to our plane, you will see it for what it is today. A charred rock, a burned wasteland. There is a illusion spell guarding the entrance. And when night falls, we can make our way off the island, down the cliffs, across the canal, and up into our town of Luthrin.
Scoria is the dragon in Mistra?
Yes.
I set the demon's legs down if we're having a conversation.
Sure. The other elf will set the arms down as well then. And with that, the cleric motions to the other cleric who steps through the portal. Kind of looks awkward as it steps in and this like goo swallows its leg and it sort of slowly pushes through. The others don't make a move to go through at all. They just kind of hang out.
I look to Grimes and say, we'll go through together, Grimes.
How heavy was the demon's body?
A couple 100 pounds.
Okay.
250,
I give it a kick.
Like
Are we bringing this one with us?
If that's
yes.
what I want, I suppose. Alright, me and Grimes will pick up the demon and walk through the portal.
They stop you. They're waiting for the other cleric to come back. Make sure it's nighttime.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
The other cleric will step back a moment later and say that it's not quite night, that we need to kill a couple hours here. And so they set the body down. The two elves that you first saw will walk away and head back in the direction that you came from.
I would like to take a moment when I think I am not being observed to pull out the gem of true seeing and look about.
Okay.
So like when maybe the elves disappear, or the two elves disappear, I'll wait for the third elf to be looking off into the distance and look around me with the gem of true seeing. Probably look at the elf when his head is turned through the gem of true seeing and make sure he's not an illusion.
He's definitely real. He's definitely an elf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll,
and scanning the woods, scanning the portal. Does anything appear to be amiss?
Everything appears to be as they say. The woods are here, the portal's there, the rocks are there, William's here, the demon's here. You find no illusions, no lurking truths.
All right. Well then.
I'll talk to the elf that's remaining and say, do you have food? We haven't eaten in years.
The elf will open a pack and produce for you a gently baked loaf of bread wrapped in a large leaf.
Are we even hungry?
Sort of.
Sort of. I peel back the leaf and tear the bread in half tear a chunk out of it and hand it to Grimes.
There's some sort of meat in the bread.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I'd like tear a bit off, just like a small bit, and gingerly take a
It's
bite.
some sort of like, if you had like a meat pie, but it was all congealed and wasn't runny at all. It's like a meat pie bread, basically. Like the bread has already soaked up the juices, but somehow is still in like a soft, fluffy bread form, and there's like little bits of meat and peas and carrots in there.
I don't know if you're trying to put me off, but it's not working. So.
No, I'm not trying to put you off. That sounds delicious to me. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, okay.
am I even hungry? Like, does it seem appetizing?
Yeah, it definitely seems appetizing. Mm-hmm. In the way that like you've already had breakfast and it's a couple hours till lunch, but then something really good walks past you and you're like, holy shit, that looks great.
What sort of meat is this? Grimes says before he puts it in his mouth. Thinking back to Ferris and all the horrifying meats he tried to feed us. Yeah, I think he was probably one of the few elves I ever met.
That is a good point.
Elk.
I'm already eating at this point.
Yeah.
I tuck in.
Well, give me a grub skill check, everybody, at advantage for the fine
sure.
elven cooking. And the fact that you haven't had like good homemade food in a long time.
19. I mean, I don't think I ever rolled grub skill. I probably have done once upon a time. Does I roll 3d6 or 46?
Grimes
3d6.
has 6 grub skill. He is a filthy peasant who grew up in a ditch outside Wicthronarenta. He has no... Oh, wait.
Oh
with
my
a natural
god,
20,
Grimes.
I never had high taste, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you're just a simple man used to military rations.
Yeah.
That's maybe a little
Does
too
this
rich.
like it or not?
Is this like the most delicious thing I've ever tasted? Is that what that
I
natural
think for
20 indicates?
Grimes, this is that home cooked mother's meal that you never got, you know. And for William, it's sort of like weird foreign food, you know.
God,
Like you go to get the kebab, and it's kind of like, what is on this kebab?
You're like, why is there meat in my bread?
Yeah.
Is that a pea?
I mean,
Grimes,
right?
Grimes exclaims, "This tastes like it was baked in Martha's own hearth. Who made this?"
Don't oversell it, Grimes.
My sister made it, says the elf before you, who introduces herself as Maidali.
Mightily. I'm Grimes, but it sounds like you already know who we are.
The elf will bow her head quietly.
Tell me, friend, how goes the war? Is Drakus well?
The war continues. The Drakisians are in famine.
After all this, do you still hold loyalty to Drakus, William?
My family is there, Grimes. Solwick is safe?
As far as I know.
Not. Good. And to answer your question, Grimes, I don't know anymore.
What year is it on the other side? We've been wandering for so long.
It is December 1512.
Rack my
year
brain.
did
Is
we?
that
Yeah.
wasn't the Caledonian expedition 1509?
1509 to I think the end of 1511.
So it's only
Okay,
like
so it's
few
been
months.
like a year.
Been about a year.
Oh, it's been a year.
Grimes, like, I don't know, Grimes just makes a face. There's like gears turning in his head, but he can't do the
Yeah.
math to figure out where it is. It's like that sounds late to him. He begins like scratching his face and feeling like this long, scraggly beard.
Mm-hmm.
He still remembers himself as like the young, what was he? I don't know, 30 something before he went to prison, before he went to Caledonia, before he got lost in the hellscape of plane hopping.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a lifetime ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his gaze just fades out in the middle distance and loses himself in thought.
Yeah. A little bit later, the other elf will head back in and out. Well, the other elf with you there, because there's two here, will keep going in and out of the portal occasionally. And eventually, on one of these return trips, he will nod to the other elf with you, the other cleric, and pull out a horn from his small bag and give it a little toot, signaling to the other elves it's time to leave.
Are there more than just the three of us? Or more than just the three of them?
There are four of them. There are two scouts and two clerics. But
Okay.
it can be hard to keep track of them because they, step into trees, they go through portals, they all sort of look alike. Well, there's the one with white hair and white eyes. This other woman that you've been speaking to has gray hair and gray eyes. You can't really tell, grayscale of this world. But
I'll say, so once we go through, do you close this behind us?
yes.
Wise.
This is a
We may have left a lot of open portals behind us on the way. Do those need to be sealed?
It would be preferable if they were closed. But the last
one
gate
in-
is the most important one. And that one we will shut down.
The one in Hedrick. We destroyed it. No led to their home.
Good.
Think. I'm not sure if there are more.
Well, while we wait for the others to show up, why don't you tell me about it? And you don't have to roleplay it out, since you've just done it so many times. But they will sit and listen intently to the stories you have to tell about where you've been and how you got here.
I'll tell them. I'll end and then say we destroyed the portal and fled from the temple, only to hear a great roar behind us and a black dragon atop the temple commanding the demons.
The elf seems not surprised, not really bothered, sort of stoic about the whole thing, taking it as if you were talking about a story you read once in a book that has no relevance to her life.
Right.
Sort of like, okay, that's nice. Good story.
You're not worried?
About demons and dragons?
Demons making their way to Arcadia.
What are these creatures? Are they're loose in Arcadia as well?
There are a few. They're mostly contained. It's a problem that's ending. As for what they are...
I don't understand. I thought we were set loose and transported to their world.
Yeah.
How?
Long before you went to their world, they came here. They've been looking for ways in since the dawn of time, and every now and then they find a crack, find a hole, or make one and come through. And then we throw them back out. You should have pity on our brothers and sisters, the elf says, pointing to the demon's corpse.
Shake
They
my
were
head.
like-
You wouldn't say that if you'd been seen what I'd seen.
I am 673 years old. I've seen much of this world, and these poor creatures deserve our sympathy and our mercy.
They don't only hate.
They showed us no sympathy or mercy, nor our brothers and sisters, nor even the dogs.
They are monsters.
Indeed, of the worst kind.
The other elves will show up. You can pick up the body, and you can step through into this goopy, slaggy, gross stuff that sort of sucks you and pulls you through. It takes like a minute or two to pass through this thing, and you don't really need to breathe while you're doing it, but you feel like you're surrounded by like thick goop the whole time until your foot finds freedom and air on the other side, and you burst through onto a burned and charred hellscape of rock and stump and ash. But there is color. The sky is blue. You can look out into the canal and see crystal clear water shining up at you. You can look across the canal and see the charred forest of the Elven lands. But also, if you look far enough out, you can see tall green trees stretching off into the horizon. If you look south, the canal is a long, long way, but beyond that are more green trees, redwoods, all over the place. Everyone, the 6 of you plus the demon, come through. The sky is turning sort of an orangish red as the sun sets. It's on the other side of the Draken Ridge, so you don't really... The sun's not in your eyes, but you can see the mountains sort of backlit and shining with hues of orange and purple and yellow, sort of in the clouds high in the sky, catching the last glimpses of the setting sun. The elves will pull some rope out of their pack and head to the western side of the island, fixing the rope between a wedge and hammering it into place with a small spike and a hammer. You'll notice one of the elves closes the portal behind you just by reaching through maybe an inch of illusory wall and pressing her hand against the portal behind it. You can't see the portal close because there's an illusory wall over it, but it looks like she's doing some sort of magic to shut it down. And before you descend on ropes to the waters below, one of the elves will cast water walking on all of you.
So I think we take so there's like the charred hellscape at the top of the cliff that kind of is ruining the moment a little bit, but once we get to the edge of the cliff face and look out, we can just see the beauty of the natural world, I guess.
Yeah, the sunset. Grimes is like rubbing his eyes in disbelief.
A sunset. It's been a long time.
It's beautiful.
My eye traces south along the canal and knows that Dracus is in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And a sigh of relief as I guess I start to climb down the rope.
Yeah. You guys can come down the rope. It's a little bit awkward. One of the elves will bear the brunt of the demon's body over its shoulder and slip down the rope carefully and slowly. But you are all water walking and can head across the canal.
Yeah, right, so we start to... I guess we... start to walk across the canal, and I think... at least William, but probably Grimes as well, is pretty awestruck in silence as we walk across the water and take in the sights.
Mm-hmm. You'll walk for a couple miles across the canal, and as you do so, the stars will come out. You can see the constellation of Bellum right above you, right next to the constellation of Verasi. There's some others up there, but those are the two ones that really stick out to you at this moment.
We came with hope, but arrived to war and death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Across the canal, there is a large staircase built into the walls, carved into it actually, chiseled brick by brick, that leads up and into the wall and sort of, how do you say, instead of like some of these other staircases on the Grand Canal are like switchbacks, this one more goes in and then kind of curves, and then all of a sudden you're at the top. Like, it should be a many hundreds of feet climb, but you only go up maybe 40 or 50 feet into the mountain before you're stepping out onto the surface above it.
That's cool.
And what you see is a burned and charred forest. There are redwoods to the left and right at a great distance, but before you is a massive grove of giant sequoias, trees that are 30 feet thick and 150 feet tall. They're charred and blackened all over the place, but you can see small little leaves growing out of the branches and off of the trunk, little buds beginning to burst into life, letting you know that these trees, while they have been damaged by dragonfire, are not quite dead, which is a miracle in and of itself. If dragonfire can sometimes melt stone, the fact that a tree has survived it at all is bizarre.
I guess I look around gasping like, this. The dragon did all of this?
She has.
But why?
You've spent a year with demons and you do not understand anger yet?
Is this commonplace? I thought the dragon slept.
The elf will shake her head at you and lead you to a tree. It's just the front of a tree, and you know how sequoias, if you know sequoias, sometimes they'll have like little inlets in them, little cracks, not cracks, or crevices more like in them. And so this elf will lead you to a section of the tree that sort of cuts in. Will place a hand on it, speak a word which William doesn't understand, but if Grimes is paying close attention, he might get.
Do you want me to roll something?
Yeah,
or
something.
Like a
perception check or eavesdrop, whichever you. Yeah.
11 would pass on either.
Yeah. She speaks just the word open in Elven, and the door, the tree sort of gives way and opens up on either side, leading you to a small internal room. Everything in here is a part of the tree. The table is just like the tree growing out of a hole in the ground. The bottom is not planks, it's just rings as if the tree had been leveled here, but it's clearly not cut. It's just there. It looks like this tree has been very carefully grown to have the shape of tables, to have the shape of a staircase, to have the shape of cabinets and surfaces. There's a staircase that runs around the outside, the outside of the room, on the inside of the tree, that goes up to another level above you. And the chairs here are separate, then can be moved. The body of the demon is set to the side. Go ahead.
So there are 6 of us. So all of the elves come here to this tree.
And as you set the body down, coming down the stairs will be more elves. Another group of 4.
So many elves.
Yeah,
How
they're
big
all
is this tree,
armed.
Neal? Is it huge?
Yeah, it's like 30 feet across, 150 feet tall.
They're all armed, are they? Okay.
They're
I
all
guess
armed.
We don't draw weapons or anything like that, but I look up because I think having spent so long in a hostile environment, like every time a new thing shows up in my field of vision, like I instinctively like reach for my, like jerk for my sword and then like look up and slowly take my hand away as I wait for them to speak.
The 2 groups of elves embrace each other, and they speak amongst themselves in Elven. Grimes, you'll overhear the entire conversation. It seems fairly normal. The group that's here is congratulating the group that with you for a job well done and returning with the people that they set out to find. And there's a quick discussion about the demon body, and the elves here say we should do the same thing as we do with the others. 2 of them will drag the body off.
I lean into William and whisper, They're congratulating those returning. Apparently they were sent off on some mission to get us. And they have a protocol for handling the demon. I guess this isn't the first they found.
Different to our protocol, I imagine.
They haul the demon's body off.
Outside or upstairs?
Outside. Mm-hmm.
Is the entrance to the tree just left wide open, or do they shut it behind us?
They shut it when you come in, and it can be opened again. On your side, it just looks like a pair of French doors, wooden French doors. From the outside, it just looks like tree trunk.
Okay. Do they have to say a command word to get out, or they just open the French doors and it?
You just open the French doors, but to go in, you need the command word.
Did any of the elves that joined us have holy symbols? Are they clerics, or the 4 that joined us warriors?
There were 3 warriors and what appeared to be a wizard, not a cleric.
Okay.
Yeah. But the 4 that were here, 2 of them will haul the body out. The other 2 will chat with your elves for just a minute. And then return upstairs and make themselves scarce, leaving you with the 4 that found you, who motioned to the table.
2 of them, didn't 2 leave, or do they come back quickly?
They'll come back quickly. Yeah. They will sit you down at a table, pour you clean, fresh water, some wine.
Been a few hours. Are we getting hungry? Are we feeling the effects of time and travel, or are the shadows within us still sustaining us?
You do not feel hungry, but it could also be the elven food you have. There have always been whispers that elven food is unnatural and unholy, or depending on your perspective, holy and wonderful and nourishing for days.
So I'll drink my water and settle and look around the table. Are they all sat around with us?
Some of them are like hanging cloaks on pegs and shuffling about, clearly at home in this environment. But the cleric, one of the 2 clerics, the female cleric, will sit with you, and she's kind of watching your faces as you look around, as if she's waiting for you to fully settle before she speaks up.
If William doesn't say anything, Grimes will, but he'll certainly defer and leave enough space.
Okay, well, I was going to say, see, Matrix send you to find us. To what end?
To bring you home. Is that so hard to believe?
No, she was with us when we were there.
I look sideways at William. I find that a little hard to believe.
She left this world for you. For both of you. For all of you?
Grimes thought we had been abandoned when we passed into the last place. But it's true. Madrigal led us to the way out of their lands.
So many died. Shaking my head. On all sides.
Many here lost their way, their hope, and their faith when she vanished without a word.
Madrigal chose a cleric. Well, turned a cleric of the Knolls. But left her to die in that hell. What sense is there in that? And the pups, Grimes says, looking down.
But why? Why us? There's so many here that need her.
The gods aren't done with you, William. They keep demanding and demanding.
It is not our position to question why the gods do what they do. It is only our position to serve.
I've been serving gods for a long time now.
Yes.
A different one to you.
Those 30 years must be excruciatingly long.
30 years?
Is that not your age? 30-something years old?
Grimes laughs.
I didn't mean...
Sorry, William, but...
I don't even know what age
I meant no
am anymore.
offense.
Something, well, a lifetime ago now, something touched me when we were in Caledonia. Stole my youth.
Mm.
You weren't a young man to start with, Captain.
Perhaps not. But I didn't mean that. I meant, we worked for a different god when we were in Caledonia, not Madrigal.
We all serve many deities over our lifetimes. Some of us choose to specialize in one over another. Madrigal has always been my calling. But I understand that you might be called to any of the gods at any point in time. Bellum, Martha, Vorasi, Velmontarius. But you're here now. Where would you like to go? The four of us will take you anywhere in this world you wish to be.
I looked at Grimes.
Grimes has his eyes narrowed in suspicion. Anywhere? There's no
Anywhere.
catch. You don't mean to tell me that you traveled across plains to bring us back here, only to set us free? Surely there's something you want from us, expect from William.
Yes.
Is he not the...
I want you to tell me where you want to go, so I can take you there. That is all I have to ask of you.
My home is Solvik in Drakus. My family are there.
We will escort you there.
I look down a bit and then look back up and say, I'm not the person I was when I left. I'm worried.
Your family will love you for who you are, regardless of how you may appear. Do not fret.
I put a hand on William's shoulder. Chat asks how William looks. Does he have demon tentacles? Or is he back to his human form?
I mean, he's got a thick beard that would hide any demon tentacles on his face, right? You're all pretty hairy and
Can I roll a
unshaven.
perception check to see the tentacles through the beard?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
I can feel my own face.
Certainly, but it's under a
No,
thick.
not enough.
You know,
I'm
William's
seeing
got like
William through
a big
rose-colored
beard now.
glasses.
You know, it's
He's a beautiful man. He's perfect. The journey just made him more rugged and handsome.
That's right. Are we walking?
we will ride. Horses will be made available. We'll need a large one for you.
I haven't ridden a horse since we left here the last time. Don't do too well in the snow.
Grimes. That's the name you prefer these days, isn't it?
I have no surname, no title, no great deeds or reputation.
Not yet, Grimes.
I'm more suited
Where would
to
you
the
like
shadows
to go,
anyways.
Marion?
I don't think it surprises me that these elves know so much. I serve Lord Marshal.
Then
I
to
will
Solwik we go.
Go where he sends me.
For now, please.
Or
There are bedrooms on the floor above us. and we will bring you water for a bath. We have scissors and razors. Would you like us to clean you up?
I nod, yes. Please.
Go upstairs, doff your armor and your weapons. Relax. We will take care of you from here on out.
Grimes lets out a sigh.
If we should show them all the random magic shit that we've got no idea what it does.
Oh. Maybe.
I mean, they're gonna probably see it.
I don't think it even occurs to me. But yeah.
I guess it's all in the bag, isn't it? I'll go upstairs.
Yeah.
Into one
We
of the
both
rooms.
head
then,
upstairs. Do we have separate rooms? How tall is this tree?
150 feet. The staircase will wrap up to another floor and keep going beyond that, but on this floor that it wraps out into is sort of like a small corridor to a circular room at the very heart of the tree, off of which branch 4 or 5, 6 actually bedrooms or rooms that could be opened into. Again, there are no nails, there's no joints. All the walls are made from the tree itself, as if someone has just like told the tree not to grow here, but to grow there, in the shape of rooms. In each of your rooms, you will find a large wooden bathtub, like a clawed foot bathtub that's been polished and oiled and smoothed, so you can sit in it without fear of splintering. And coming down from upstairs after a moment will be an elf carrying a large ceramic carafe that they pour, and then just endless water pours out of it, filling the bathtub slowly with water. And then the elf will reach a hand into it and speak some words, and like after a moment, steam will begin to rise from the water, letting you know it's nice and warm. Each of you will have a bath filled for you. And why don't we take our break here while you get cleaned up? The elves will trim your hair. They'll shave your beards if you desire it, or they'll hand you the razors to do yourself. And we'll see you guys on the other side of our break for a little more Homeward Bound.